place your hands on the mat and come into a high push-up. On an exhale, lower halfway down into chaturanga, and on an inhale, lift your chest up into upward facing dog. On an exhale, lift your hips up towards the sky into downward facing dog. And hold this for a few breaths. Inhale, lift your left leg straight up to the sky. Exhale, bring it in so your knee touches your nose. Inhale, straighten your leg out behind you. Exhale, bend your knee and bring it in to touch your nose. Inhale, straighten out behind you. Exhale, knee to nose, and hold for 3 breaths. And release. Come back to downward dog and shift over into a high push-up. Lower halfway down into chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog and exhale to downward facing dog. Now let's do them on the other side. Lift your right leg up into the sky and on an exhale, bend your knee and touch your nose. Inhale, straight out behind you, hips leveled. Exhale, bring it in and your knee touches your nose. Inhale, straight out behind you. Exhale, knee to nose, and hold for 3 breaths. And release. Bring it back to the mat. And on an inhale, shift over to a high push-up. And on an exhale, lower halfway down into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now lift your left leg straight out behind you, and on an exhale, bend your knee and touch your nose. Lift it straight out behind you, and on an exhale, bend your knee and touch your opposite arm. Inhale, straight out behind you. Exhale, touch your left knee to your left arm. And if you'd like, you can go into an arm balance by hooking your right elbow to your body and lifting your back foot. Come back to downward facing dog. And on an inhale, shift over to high push-up. Exhale halfway into chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog and exhale to downward facing dog. Now let's try it on the other side. Lift your right leg straight up into the sky and on an exhale, bend it and touch your nose. Inhale, straight out behind you. Exhale, bend your knee and touch your opposite arm. Inhale, straight out behind you. Exhale, bend your right knee to touch your right arm, and you can go into an arm balance if you like, by hooking your left elbow into your body and lifting your back foot with your core. Now let's come back to downward facing dog, and release. On an inhale, shift over into high push-up, and hold. Try to keep a straight line from the tip of your head to your heels. Now lower halfway into chaturanga and hold. Again, try to keep that straight line. And release. Inhale into upward facing dog and exhale into downward facing dog. Now let's come into dolphin. Bring your forearms down onto the mat so that your elbows are right underneath your shoulders. Let's do some push-ups here. Lower your hips down so that your chin is closer to your hands and the mat, and on an inhale, lift your hips back up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, come back up. Let's do this 10 times with your own breath. When you're done, come back up to downward facing dog with your hands on the mat. Now at the end of an exhale, jump or step up towards your hands. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stand up with your hands over your head. and on an exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, lift your hands up over your head, and on an exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back and look up. Exhale, step or jump back into a high push-up. Lower down into chaturanga, and exhale to downward facing dog. Now let's do a few more dolphin push-ups. Come down to your forearms into dolphin and do 5 more push-ups. On an exhale, bring your hips down, and on an inhale, lift them back up. Do it with your own breath. When you're done, come up to your hands into downward facing dog, and at the end of an exhale, step or jump your feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, come up to a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. If you'd like to go into the stretch deeper, hold on to your big toes. Inhale to a flat back, and exhale, pull your torso towards your legs. Hold this position for a few breaths. Inhale, flat back, and lift yourself all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step or jump and lower yourself to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now lift your left leg straight up into the sky and step it in between your hands. Come up into warrior 1. Heel to heel alignment. Your front knee is bent into a 90-degree angle and your hands are up above your head with your palms of your hand facing each other. Hold this position for a few breaths. Now let's come into side angle. Bring your left elbow on your left knee and turn over to your right. Bring your right arm up towards the sky. Try to keep a straight line from the tip of your right fingertips to your heel. Now if you'd like to go a little deeper, put your hand on the mat next to the inside part of your left foot. Keep that right arm up towards the sky. Now if you'd like to go even deeper, go into a clasp by clasping behind your left thigh, bringing your left arm underneath your thigh and bringing your right arm behind you and holding on to your hands or wrists. Hold wherever you are for a few breaths. And release. Come all the way back up into warrior 1 and then put both of your hands on the mat into a high push-up. Exhale to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Now let's do it on the other side. Lift your right leg up into the sky and step it in between your hands. Come up into warrior 1. Heel to heel alignment. Your front leg is in a 90-degree angle and both of your arms are up over your head with palms facing each other. Now let's come into that side angle. Bring your right elbow onto your right knee and lift your left arm up towards the sky. Look up towards those left fingertips. Now if you want to go deeper, bring that hand down to the mat. And if you did the clasp on the other side, do it on this side as well. Bring your right arm underneath your right thigh and your left arm out behind you. Hold on to your hands or your wrists and keep looking up towards the sky. Hold this position wherever you are for a few breaths. And release. Now place both of your hands on the mat and step back and pull your hips up into downward facing dog. Hold this position for a few breaths. Now bring your knees down and come back to your cross-legged position.